All right. Looks like I should be live here. As always, I'm going to wait for a second, check it out, and make sure it actually works. All right. Looks like we're good. So, I already got someone in the chat. Anything I say you're going to agree with? I don't know, man. No, I'm not going to. I'm not going to say anything too wild. You never know, though. Yeah. So today I'm just talking about basically my final opinion on what's going to happen in the election. There's really not much time for anything to change unless something just batshit crazy happens over the weekend, which I don't know. Given the way this election has gone so far, it's not entirely impossible, I guess. Maybe Joe Biden resigns over the weekend. That was one thing I didn't really think would happen, but I thought it would be interesting if it did, just to see how that might affect the race. How am I doing? I'm doing good. Doing pretty good. Happy late Halloween, everybody. And early election day. Early voting's already started most everywhere else. I think it's already finished where I am, actually. They've already completed early voting. They don't let you early vote all the way up to election day. It's like a week or so, like a week and a half, maybe 2 weeks. I don't know. But they stop it basically right before. Right before. I'm not sure why. I guess it helps them get organized for the shit show of election day. So I'm going to make some predictions here about what's going to happen, and I'll say what is realistic, and then give my kind of bold, bold take, bold prediction. Realistically, if you listen to any of the commentators, experts, people that know what they're talking about, at least in my view. Um, so I guess this is my opinion too, in a way, but everyone's saying that they just don't fucking know. They have no idea. No one has any clue, and that's all based on the polls. Um, and yeah, according to the polls, there's really no argument to be made either way. Even if you're going to sit there and say, okay, well, the polls are saying this, and I think they're biased because, and by biased, I don't mean intentionally biased, like the way people are biased. That's just the word they use. Is the terminology for when a poll is inaccurate or it's not accounting for something. It's a biased poll. It's not representative of the actual population. Okay. So, in a poll, you're taking a sample. Those are just the people in the poll. And then if the poll's biased, that sample doesn't represent the actual population of people. It's like a proxy. So, um, what I'm saying is, according to the polls, it's basically dead tied in all the swing states. It's within the margin of error, meaning any one of them could just do a clean sweep, win all of the swing states. Either one of them could win all 7 of the swing states. And those are the usual suspects: Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, North Carolina, Georgia, Arizona, and Nevada. So, and basically everyone's saying they don't know what's going to happen. I'm going to give it a shot here. And if you wanted to, what you could do, if you're going to try and make that argument that the polls were biased, like what I was talking about earlier, it could go either way. Like you could say, well, historically, every time Trump has been in there, the last 2 times he was on the ticket, the polls extremely underestimated the support for Trump. And so if they, and he lost one of those times, but the polls were, saying he was going to lose by a lot and he lost by a little. And if it's underestimating him, anything like it was those last 2 times, it's going to be a blowout and he's going to win all 7 swing states. Now, there's a reason to think that's not the case. And personally, that's the view I'm going to take. That's the one I'm going to take. Is that it's the argument that I'll buy, I guess. Is I think that's probably unlikely that there's going to be. It's never happened before, I guess, is what I should start with. There's never been 3 elections, at least in modern history, or since we've had modern polling and stuff, where someone's been underestimated 3 times in a row, where the polls have underestimated the same party, I should say, 3 times in a row. And now it's so you could say, well, that's because normally we don't have the same party running the same candidate 3 times in a row. That almost never happens either. I don't know if that has ever happened, actually. I know we've had, I think it's happened at least once. But anyway, so that throws a whole monkey wrench into that thing. But the reason I think it's unlikely isn't even because of the historical reasoning for that. It's because of the sort of the logical reasoning of I feel like these people would have adjusted for that and probably overcompensated. So in my view, there's basically two outcomes. There's the outcome that yeah, it is actually really close, and one of them is just barely going to win. They're each going to win some of the swing states, and it's going to be a tiny electoral college victory for one of them. Um, I think it's probably overestimated the support for Trump. It's overcompensated for the problem it had before, and there's sort of a double effect of when you look at the last two elections, the special elections and midterms and stuff. The Democrats have been outperforming the polls. They've been doing exceptionally well. And I think with those things combined, they're probably underestimating the Democrat support. So I think it's going to be not like a complete sweep of the swing states, but I think it's going to be almost a whole sweep. I'll show you what I've got. And again, this is all just me kind of bullshitting. I'm not like 100% this is going to happen. This is mostly based off of like hunches and gut feeling stuff. Because as I said, no one actually really knows. So I'll show you what I got here. And, maybe it'll happen. It's my best guess. My best guess. So let's go with this map here. And I am biased, obviously. Like this is something I want to happen. So of course I'm gonna make the argument that it could happen or probably will. So gotta factor all that shit in too. So this is what I got. And since you probably can't read it, it might be too small. Let's see here. Uh basically I have Kamala winning everything Joe Biden did except for Arizona, but I also have her winning North Carolina, which I think he lost. So basically, they just switched those two states from the last election, and that's what you end up with, which is a really big win for her. So that's 308 to 230. Now, more realistically, this is like the thing my argument that I think will happen if I'm right about them both overcompensating for the non-response bias of Trump voters, and also, not taking into account the fact that they actually might be underrepresenting the surge of the Democrat vote because of Roe v. Wade and all that stuff that has happened. So that's what I'm arguing. A maybe more cautious version where she would still win. This is the same one I had last time before, I think, is where you just give him all these swing states down here and she barely ekes it out at 270 by just winning the three Rust Belt states. So Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania. And that would give her the win, just barely. That's a more cautious version because she's doing pretty well in Wisconsin and Michigan. And historically, they've done well in Pennsylvania. They have a really popular Democrat governor. So I'm pretty damn sure she's going to win those three states. So that's my more cautious, I guess, prediction is that she barely ekes it out. But I'm pretty sure she's going to win because I'm pretty sure she's going to win those three. And by pretty sure, I mean, I don't really fucking know. I'm like 55%, I guess. Maybe. I don't fucking know for sure. But this is the one I'm betting on. That's my bold take. 308 to 230. That's my official stance. And when this happens, you'll know that I'm the true election guru. Nobody else predicted this except for me. So that's my final take on that. Now, what else? Because I'm not just going to have some takes about what's going to happen, but also I think something else that'll probably. Oh, let me see what you guys are saying here. Currently reading John Bolton's book, and I can only say, Jesus, man, Trump was really stupid and incompetent. Yeah, that's one of my. You must be talking about the room where it happened. It's one of my favorite. I went through. I meant to do a video at some point, and sort of rank all of the books because I went through and read basically all of the books written by the former, not every former Trump staffer or cabinet member, but all the major ones, and especially the ones that he either fired or they quit or resigned or left through the administration, all the kind of tell-all type books. And yeah, his was the best. That was my favorite one because it was funny, it was informative, and it was just very entertaining to read. Basically, him having to put up with his bullshit the whole damn time, and like his internal thoughts, and like I thought it was great. I don't remember what the other. There's another pretty good one. I think Bill Bars. Maybe Bill Bars was maybe my second favorite out of those. Mike Pence's was pretty boring. It was more of a memoir, all about him and all the great things they did. The only interesting part in Mike Pence's is with the January 6th stuff. Other than that, he's just saying all the great things. It's just him recounting basically all of their successes as an administration, or what he viewed as successes. And then, yeah, I don't even know what my third would be. But yeah, that one's really good. Really keys you into how crazy some of the stuff he was doing was. Oh, and his famous 13. Yeah, I was going to talk about him. Yeah, that was the other thing I was going to talk about. Was the election gurus? I meant to go more into depth into that actually before I shared my own opinion. But yeah, you're talking about the historian. So there's all these people that come up with all these different arguments and metrics, and like, oh, let's look at this. There's the like, oh, this county has predicted this state every single time since, I don't know, the last 50 years. So this is really important. And there's like nothing to it. It's like, okay, maybe, but that doesn't mean that it's just a swing county and the odds are good. His thing is not like that. His thing is like, and he says he predicted every 9 out of the last 10. He missed the Bush Gore election. And I don't remember all of his 13 keys. I do remember thinking like, this is dumb, because it's not going to be, every election is too unique, especially this one, to factor these things in the same way. Like he looks at like, I think it's like some economic metric, some sort of like, he gives them like the incumbent advantage, and something. Was it the job rate or the unemployment rate? I don't remember what they all were. He basically looks at 13 different random stats, I guess, and says that if you go by these, if these things are the way it is, his is basically, it's a this party versus this party, or incumbent versus non-incumbent. And yeah, I don't buy it. His says that Kamala is going to win, so I guess he agrees with me. But I always thought that guy was kind of a hokey. He was also going around saying like, oh, well, Joe Biden should stay in because my 13 keys say that he's got a better chance of winning than Kamala does. Now his 13 keys still say Kamala's going to win, but he was saying Joe Biden should stay in, even when he was polling at like 30% in some of the swing states. It was ridiculous. Like I know like he hates the polls. Lots of people do. But there, I don't know what else you're going to go on. I guess you could go with his 13 keys, but I think that's kind of a silly thing. It's like a historical deal. And there's all this other stuff where people will point out like, well, okay, when they'll look at like certain poll results and say, well, when someone's favorability is this low, they've never won, or when their favorables are higher than the other person's by this much, they've won every time, or when the job approval rating is this low for the current administration, the person running in that party, whether it's the same candidate or a different one, their successor, has always lost. I don't know. I don't know how much any of that stuff holds up. One thing I would say, if you want to know the real key, the real way you determine these things, is you look at this right here. This is really the only realistic election predictor that I trust. And it's Epic Rap Battles of History. Now, most people will tell you the way Epic Rap Battles of History determines who the president is going to be is by looking at the thumbnail, which is this right here. And according to that, if that's what you were going to go by, then Trump would win, because the person in their thumbnail who is on the right, the candidate on the right of their thumbnail, has lost every single time. So that would predict Kamala would lose. But I noticed a different pattern, which is in every one of their videos, the candidate that starts the rap, that begins the rap battle, loses every time. And in this one, it was Trump. So I think Trump's going to lose. And I think this is irrefutable evidence. It's probably the best predictor. At least we'll figure out whether the thumbnail prediction or whoever starts the rap battle is real, because that's in contradiction in this election. So we'll determine which of those methods is more accurate after this. And then I guess the other thing I was going to predict, I think there's going to be some level of violence that happens on election day. I expect it at polling places that Trump supporters are going to do something stupid somewhere. It's already happened, actually, to a degree. I don't have much information on this because there's not a ton out there, but I've seen some articles about drop-off ballot drop boxes getting set on fire, essentially, like people dropping incendiary devices into the box to light the ballots on fire. Um, I would suspect, I don't know if they know that was like a Trump supporter, MAGA person. I would guess, because like, why would a Democrat want to burn mail-in ballots? I don't know. It was also in a place where it wouldn't matter. I think it was like in Oregon or something, so it didn't matter. And then there was an article I read about a teenage kid waving around a machete uh, at Democrat voters, apparently going into the polling place. He didn't do anything, I guess, other than like threaten them, intimidate. I don't know. He got arrested. Trump supporters will, what'd you say? Start eating dogs of Kamala Harris wins. Yeah, I mean, they're already, God, have you seen what they've been flipping out since Joe Biden called them all garbage and like dressing up in garbage bags and stuff. These people are crazy, man. MAGA is already going full retard mode there. yeah, that's what I was just talking about. Yeah. But yeah, I do think, I unfortunately think something will happen, especially if it isn't going well for Trump. If he doesn't win, even if he ends up ultimately winning, whether or not, if it's not decided like that night, and you start to see like the vote count start going up like we did last time, where essentially he's getting these big numbers because the mail-in vote and the in-person vote and the early vote are also skewed by party. And some of these states, for whatever reason, process all the in-person votes, and then they wait until that day to do the mail-in. And I don't know. I assume the early vote can get. I assume that goes through with the in-person. I don't know how it works, but I know for sure in the mail-in it gets separated out in some of these places. And I guess part of the reason for that, I don't know why they can't start counting the mail-in ahead of time. Laws, I guess. But the mail-in takes so much longer because you've got to sit there. You have to open up an envelope. Like in some of these places, they haven't even been removed from the fucking envelope. They take them out of the envelope. They look at it and they're like verifying it on the day, on election day, like looking at the signatures, counting them up. This is like hundreds of thousands of votes. I don't know. I don't know why they do it this way. But I mean, I guess the MAGA people would say it's so they can rig it. That's why they do it like that. Like maybe, I don't know. But no, I expect if something like that happens, like what happened last time, where it looks like his numbers are going really good, and then Kamala starts shooting up, they're gonna flip their shit. And I'm guessing there could be people already ready for this because there's certain places where they legit believe these crazy fucks, and there's a lot of crazy fucks out there, legitimately believe that like these people were stealing the election from them right in front of them inside those buildings. And like it's like with Pizzagate. You know what happened with Pizzagate? All these people saying, "Oh, there's people holding like a secret pedophile ring of the demon worshiping like Democrats or whatever under this pizza parlor in Washington D.C. or New York or wherever it was. I think it was in D.C. And some guy ran in there with an AK-47 and was like, "Oh, free the kids, free the kids!" It was like looking for the secret Illuminati pedophile basement. It was crazy. And so I could see something like that happening. Like when this many people believe something that fucked up is like actually going on. They're gonna want to bust up in there and like prove to the world that they're stealing the election and they're doing all this shit. I can totally see it. And so I think that'll probably happen. I don't know what it'll be. I don't know how severe, uh, but I feel like something, a riot at least. You kind of had that a little bit even last time. They didn't, from what I remember, like break into polling places, but I think they were like banging on the windows and stuff like that. Stop the count and all that stuff. Oh yeah, oh yeah. Well, I think both sides will go nuts if the other side wins. But yeah, of course they're going to go. They went nuts last time. I don't know if it'll be that as bad as it was last time. Um, but yeah, I don't know what the Democrats are going to do if if Trump wins with the stuff they've been showing. Oh, and I'll show you. Oh my God, this is my favorite campaign ad I've ever seen, and there's been a lot of good ones this year. There's been a lot of good ones. I thought about playing several of them. Um, I didn't really want to take the time to do that, but there was, uh, there was like the one. Trump's best ones were probably more from when he was against Biden. I haven't seen a lot of his since then because I don't really get them just naturally unless I go find them on YouTube because it's not a swing state where I am, so we don't just receive that stuff. Um, he had like the one with the eclipse that was pretty funny. Kamala had the one where it was like, "Where's or what happened to Mike Pence? Where's Mike Pence?" That was pretty funny, and it like zooms in. Some guy I don't know what interviews in with Trump. He's like, "Oh yeah, Mike Pence." He's like, the guy interviewing was like, is some podcast kid. He's like, "Oh yeah, that guy. Yeah, what happened to that guy? What happened to him?" It like zooms into Trump's head, and it's like all the people chanting "Hang Mike Pence, hang Mike Pence," like going nuts and all that stuff. And zooms out. He's like, yeah, I had a disagreement with him or something." Um, but oh, and then Ted Cruz had one where it was like against Colin Aldred, and I saw this one on TV where it was like this commercial about women. It was about the women trans in women's sports. It's about at first I couldn't tell what it was. I didn't realize it was a campaign ad. It was that sneaky where it was like talking about women being strong and they can accomplish all this, and it's girls. I thought like, oh, is this like a Nike commercial or something? It's showing girls playing basketball and stuff, and then this huge guy just comes up. It's like these girls in flag football, and this massive guy just comes up and waylays one of them, just knocks her on her ass, just destroys her. And like you look up, and it's on the back of the jersey. It just says Aldred, and it's like Aldred wants to play, women or men to play in women's sports. That was the funniest damn thing. I rewound that like 3 times when I saw it. This one's better though. This is the best one. I'm gonna show you all this one if I can get it to work. Uh, who's this? Was embolden the stupid people in the right wing movement. Back in the day, Alex Jones was seen as completely nuts. Now he's seen as some kind of genius. Yeah, I still don't know how popular Alex is. He was always kind of around, but I think Trump did help him take off. Definitely more mainstreamed a lot of the crazy stuff. Because a lot of these wacky ass people used to not really engage in politics at all because they think the whole system's like rigged and corrupt or whatever, and so they just didn't engage with it. They're like, oh, they're all the same and they're switching sides, and then Trump came in, they saw him as like their guy. So anyway, let's play this is the most crazy ass ad. This is like, I guess it's from like a Harris Walls friendly, I don't know if they're a pack. They're like some kind of organization. So it's not like either of the. It's not like Harris put this out, um, but it's still fucking nuts. And what it seems like is that they're trying to get far lefties. And I'm assuming the people that made this are kind of far left nutbags, and they're trying to get them to turn out for Kamala. And this this is it. It starts out and you think it's going one way, and then it just takes you for a freaking ride. There's no way, unless you've already seen this, there's no damn way you're going to predict where this is going. Let me see here. Do I have the whole thing? Do I have it up from the beginning? All right. And hopefully this will share the audio too. I haven't done this in a while. It doesn't make me. I don't think it gives me the option to share or not share audio anymore. What is this?
Still voting for him? Hell yeah. What about
Oh, wait, this is the wrong one. This is the wrong one. This one's funny too, actually. But no, this is the wrong one. That's the one. This is the one where like his wife, where they're implying that like their wives are cheating against him. This is the one. Okay. Let me go here.
Parties.
All right. So it's this one. A warning from the future. So this is pretty wild here. A bunch of people sitting around in a completely like wasted, what would you call this, post-apocalyptic nightmare. That's where we're starting.
We weren't always like this. We had a beautiful life.
Very dramatic.
The best parties. The most beautiful friends. We thought it was just another election. So a lot of us didn't vote. Why bother? Everyone knew the system was rigged. Many of us even voted for them. I know it sounds crazy now, but we didn't.
It's just like trashed and everything. And like, even at this point, I thought where this was going was like, I don't know, maybe it's because I listened to this before I saw it, but I thought it was going to be like, oh, well, Trump got elected and then the violence broke out and there was war and, he came for our right to choose and he took away more of women's rights and all this stuff. I still was thinking it might be something along those. I don't know how I didn't see this earlier.
Like Democrats back then. We were angry about the vaccine mandates and how they handled the war in Gaza and the way they wanted to censor free speech on the internet.
They want unquestioned obedience.
So what did we end up doing? We voted for the guys who openly said they wanted to imprison dissenters and use the military against their political opponents. So yeah, you were wrong on that. Big time.
Okay. This is about to go. This is where it goes off the fucking rails. Where at this point, I was still like, okay, well, we were wrong. We shouldn't have voted for them. And then I see Trump laying in a hospital bed, and I'm like, what the fuck? What is about to happen here? And I don't think you could possibly guess how fucking wild this campaign is with like how I guess fear-mongery. And I'm all here for it. I think if you're gonna do it, if you're gonna do like the fear-mongering, like they're fascists and stuff, if you're gonna do that stuff, just go balls to the fucking wall with it like this. Just go all the fucking way, because this is a cinematic masterpiece is what this is about to turn into right here.
When Trump got sick and died, Vance was 39 years old when he became president. 30 years later, he's still president today. And with the Supreme Court on his side, they gave him dictatorial powers. They took away women's reproductive rights, outlawed contraception, and removed the minimum wage. Then we had repression of dissent, AI surveillance of everything we did or said on a level we couldn't imagine. The government under Vance, Peter Thiel, and Elon Musk set up concentration camps for illegal immigrants, then legal
Elon Musk
then even homeless people.
So even now, it's about to get more fucking wild. You thought that was wild? JD Vance becomes dictator for 30 years. Elon Musk helps him build like Tesla concentration camps for the homeless. It gets even crazier.
They finally admitted climate change was real, but it was too late. Florida sank into the Gulf and the West burned.
Florida gets completely destroyed. And the country gets destroyed. The west of the country gets destroyed by wildfires, I guess.
And cities across the country became uninsurable, then uninhabitable. Musk and Teal
I like that
poured all
uniform.
of our resources.
Can I go back on this? I like Elon Musk's like it's like Starship Troopers uniform or
Then
what?
uninhabitable.
What is he wearing? They've got him wearing like this crazy sci-fi. And what's weird, this is supposed to be 30 years later, so Musk would be like in his 80s at this point. I don't know. I guess they just CGI, or not CGI'd, but AI. Like this whole ad was made by AI. That's pretty impressive to me, actually. When you see at the end in their credits, it was like all like the voice, everything. You can kind of tell at certain points it just looks fucking weird, like with JD Vance yelling like, Hitler with a beard.
Musk and Teal poured all of our resources
That's
into
what they
artificial
did.
intelligence.
You've got like that kid. What is this?
Musk and Teal poured all of our resources.
He's got like these children working in the I don't know what this is, the 1984 government. So this is where it gets really fucking wild. Let's go back a couple.
Then uninhabitable. Musk and Teal poured all of our resources into artificial intelligence so they and their friends could become immortal. I don't know what happened to them, but I know what happened to us.
Oh my God. So, JD Vance becomes the permanent dictator, and him and Elon Musk and Peter Thiel essentially create like a I guess that's supposed to be like a, I don't know if it's a 1984 slash Nazi futuristic like sci-fi dictatorship where they're all like immortal dictator gods that can control everything that you see and hear and think through AI. And well, simultaneously, somehow, what I don't get about that, it's just now occurring to me, is like you're supposed to be living in this like it shows the people living around like trash fires and stuff in a total wasteland, but they're also being like controlled and monitored through AI. So like in the next scene, you'll see them all in like these super advanced like sci-fi rooms where they're all plugged into their iPads, and it's like, well, which is it, man? Are we living in like Mad Max, like it kind of seemed like, or is it like sci-fi dystopia, kind of thing going on? Doesn't really seem like. I guess it could be different in different parts of the country, like where they had the wildfires, or Florida just sank into the ocean, I guess, because of climate change. God, you know how much the water level would have to rise to, like, I don't know. The whole thing was wild. The whole immortal AI thing was not one I saw coming. But that's a hell of an ad. I'm here for it. So, if you don't want to live in a sci-fi dystopian dictatorship under JD Vance and Elon Musk, then don't forget to go vote on Tuesday, guys. So, I guess that's my final predictions all out of the way. We'll see. We'll see what happens. I really don't ultimately know, I suppose. Don't really know. You can make arguments for it to go either way. We'll see. Anyway, with all that out of the way, I'll probably stream on election night. Probably. We'll see. I don't know why I wouldn't. I'm going to try to. But we'll see. Should be fun. Should be fun. I think something interesting is going to happen. I don't know what. But anyway, with all that out of the way, you guys have a great night. I'll see you later.